Aloha Aina, aloha nui kako. Mahalo nui for joining us for this first of 2 episodes where we'll highlight some of Hawaii's special places throughout the state. Some of these places are what we refer to in Hawaiian as pana, and in our opening story, we'll take a look at the meaning of pana aina. We head off to Maui Island to visit the site of one of the bloodiest battles fought in Hawaii's history. And we'll head over to Hawaii Island as well to a site that highlights ancient Hawaiian technology. Rising 13,000 feet above sea level, Mauna Kea is famous throughout the world as being the tallest mountain when measured from the ocean floor. However, for us here in Hawaii, its significance goes well beyond its physical dominance.
Ai no ilu no na keia kuahiwi. Ka noho ana mai o keia maua kua o wā ku'una mai a hiki loa I keia manawa.
Most of us are familiar with one of these deities, Poli'ahu, the snow goddess. However, she shares these slopes with her 3 sisters, Kohopoakane, Lilinoi, and Wai'au. Mauna Kea is no doubt a sacred place given its relationship to these Hawaiian deities and many traditions, but it is also cherished for more lighthearted reasons that have been memorialized in story, which is what makes a place a pana in Hawaiian. And while Mauna Kea is both a sacred place and a pana, they aren't necessarily one and the same.
Mali a paha I keia maula ke loli nei ka manao a ka aole o ke la ka manao ka pana a ole he wahi kapu a ale he wahi ihi ihi a ka he wahi alohan ia e ka poe oia wahi nā kama aina. He mo'olelo pokole I pana ia ma leila o iho I malama ia ke I mo'olelo ma ia wahi. A leila paa ke la mo'olelo ho pilipu ia me ke la wahi a lilo he mea kaulana I waino o ke la poe. A lilo he mea haeheo, a mea pulama ia I waino lako.
And Larry shared with us one of the stories of an event that happened years ago that makes Wai'au a pana, one that is captured and retold in his chant and dance.
Mauna Kea o kalani ke makaya Wai'au.
O ke la vai o Wai'au I luna o Mauna Kea. He mo'olelo ia no kona manao o iho I he vai I au ia. No laila kona inoa o Wai'au. O lelo ia I nā a ole o I au I loko o keia vai o Wai'au a ole o I ike a Mauna Kea.
This tradition of having to swim in the lake to actually see it was perpetuated well into the days of the monarchy when Queen Emma visited Hawaii Island.
Okupuna kane kualua keia o Wilama Lindsay e ka maaina o ia ka mea nana I lawe iaia. Pailaka hoi I luna o keia kuahiwi.
I kona wā e kaapuni ani na mokupuni ka pai pāloka ka imi ane ka noho ali'i. No ka poe, ua pi'i pā ke li'i wahine, ua komo o ia I loko o ia vai, ua au o ia. Ai, a ka, a ale kako poina, he li'i wahine o ia.
Au ia e nei e malani e ele umai oko.
And because of her royal status, she had a unique swimming experience at Wai'au. She actually latched on to the back of one of her servants.
O ia ka mea au o ke li'i ka mea ho'olai. Au no a puni ke ia vai, ka puka ana mai, ua ike o ia Wai'au, ua ku o ia mane I nei.
Haina mai ka puana no e malani no hei no.
Ka hoi hou ana I ke la au kuana I ke Hawaii. O ka ike kino he mea nui. Hiki ke pi'i o ko Mauna Kea ku no ma hapalua. A ale o ike ia Mauna Kea. Pono ana no e pi'i loa I ukulele a komo aku no ua ike.
Hei noa no e malani.
We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, some traditional Hawaiian technology.
Aloha mai e nā mamua haloa mai ke kahi au ai ke kahi au ako ke ia whai aina. E ia mako nā hoa o ka leo oiwi. E launa mai noi ke ia haʻule lau ma Oiwi TV nei.
What did she just say?
Stick around, you'll find out. Baile. Kaleo Oiwi, a new Hawaiian language learning series now on Oiwi TV, digital channel 326 and online at oiwi.tv.
Kanu ia ka mea kanu Hawaii uluwehi hou ka aina.
Pehea kākau a mea kanu ho uluwehi ka pahale ho e pe?
E a mama he iliahi.
Kanu ia ka mea kanu Hawaii olu hou ka nohona.
U ia mamalu loa ana kia wahi e mama.
Ai, i loko ke kahi wā pokole.
Kanu ia ka mea kanu Hawaii mau o anei. Many of our ancient sites, like Kalahuipua'a in our upcoming story, are stunning examples of how adept Hawaiians were at creating systems and using the technology of their day to provide for a thriving society.
E ino mako maki aina kapa'i o Kalahuipua'a. O Kalahuipua'a he iliku pono maka ahupua'a o Waimea ka moku o Kohala.
Right here in Kohala, on the grounds of the Maunalini Bay Hotel and Bungalows, these 7 traditional Hawaiian fish ponds are still well intact, one of which is named Kalahuipua'a.
Ua malama kai no na ali'i o ka wakahiko, yeah?
These fish ponds are a testament to the Hawaiian sophisticated aquaculture system. While the fish ponds were completely enclosed, sluice gates or makaha such as this one allowed water to flow in and out. Small fish would enter, but as they grew bigger, they couldn't get back through the slats in the gate and continued to grow in the pond. In this way, the people, especially the ali'i, always had a readily available supply of i'a or fish.
He ama anai ke kahi, me ka awa, me ke kaku, manini, uhu, nui na ano I a like ole.
Kaniela has been the caretaker of this 5-acre fish pond for nearly 30 years.
Pretend that you didn't eat all week and there's a fish right over there and you're starving. If you don't catch it, you're going to starve again. Ka'u hana ma'anei to ha'ina mo'olelo, o keia ka history o keia aina.
Kaniela engages guests in activities like fishing with throw nets and educating them about the beauty and significance of this place.
And you have to let go. He mau inoa like ole. Kapaia ke aina Kalahuipua'a. I ka wā mamua nui nā pua'a hui make maulokoi'a. Ua ha'i nā paniolo ke ia wahi o Kalahaipua'a. Because ua hei aku ke la paniolo ka pua'a.
Kaniela has a great aloha for this place and a special aloha for the various landowners who have cared for it over the years.
O Paka Ranch ke kahi, o Uncle Francis E. Brown ke kahi, I keia maula o Tokyo Corporation ka haku aina.
Even today, the current Japanese owners understand the importance of preserving and sustaining these traditional ponds amidst this modern world-class resort. And Kaniela hopes to one day see the ponds function as they did with our ancestors. While there's value in preserving sites like Kalahuipua'a, the goal for Kaniela is to restore the pond's productivity as a food source.
Ole lako harvest ni ka loko I ke ia manawa. Aka I ke ia manawa, he mea pono hanai ka ia maanei e hopu no ka poe. So aole poho
Gathering and growing food is an important responsibility in many societies, one marked by significant sites and even places of worship here in Hawaii, many of which still have relevance till today.
This heiau is a living heiau, living temple.
This is a place where Hawaiian cultural practitioners can continue their culture practices.
Ulupo Heiau, in the heart of Kailua, may be bustling with activity on this particular day, but this wasn't the case in the not-so-distant past.
When the Hawaiians were no longer able to malama, to care for Ulupo Heiau, due to the disruption of their society, the abolishment of their customs and their religion, then this was overgrown.
As the years passed, it wasn't just the structure and its aesthetic beauty that was compromised and came into question, but the true original purpose that the heiau was built was also a bit cloudy and left to speculation.
There had been a lot of rumors and a lot of talk about, oh, it's a spooky place, or it was a luakini at one time. This is not sure.
Although some may have believed that Ulupo Heiau was once a luakini or a sacrificial temple for the Hawaiian deity Ku, others believed that it was in fact used as a mapele or agricultural heiau. But in 2005, Kumuhula John Keola Lake helped to clarify the heiau's purpose for future generations.
So what he did was formally rededicate it as a mapele, an agricultural heiau. His reasoning was that in the year 400, where there are traces that people lived here and had a heiau, that it would have been agricultural at the beginning, and only later would it have been a temple to Ku. And so rededicating it in these times as an agricultural heiau makes sense.
This rededication marked the beginning of agricultural, cultural, and historical rediscovery at Ulupo Heiau.
There were lots and lots of cultural resources here that needed sort of rediscovering. So we had work crews come in and they did a whole lot of clearing, and they found freshwater streams. They found a couple of very ancient lo'i, and now they've restored that, so there are perhaps 20 lo'i down there. Wow. Lots of ulu, kukui, lots of native plants.
Students from elementary, high school, college, and even community citizens come here, not only for the educational tours, but also to continue the malama of this site here, and that's very, very important.
Just what is it about this place that has attracted battles for generations? We'll find out when we come back.
All set?
You bet.
And to the right, vamp. Alternating feet coming forward on the right. And now opening the knees and kicking the feet. And vamp right. Vamp left. And we're done. Without Hawaiian, it's just not the same.
Aha Punana Leo, reinvigorating the Hawaiian language since 1983. Many of our significant places here in Hawaii were home to landmark events in Hawaii's history, such as the battle that took place at Iao, where Kamehameha Nui conquered the island of Maui. Interestingly, it's the site of an ongoing modern-day battle as well. Wailuku Maui is famous for Nawai Eha, or the four great waters of Waikapu, Waiehu, Waihe'e, and this, the largest, Wailuku, which flows in the shelter of the valley of Iao.
Ua momona loa keia aina mamuli o Kawai.
Because of the amount of water, the land around Wailuku River was abundant and attractive as a dwelling place for the chiefs of Maui, and Iao became the royal seat of power. This too, however, made it a prime target of enemies like Kamehameha the Great during his quest to conquer all the islands.
Ina hiki ke lanakila ma keia au o ka mokopuni o Maui, hiki aia ke lanakila keia mokopuni holo o koa.
It was from this very summit that Maui forces spotted Kamehameha and his warriors as they approached, and a bloody battle ensued.
Ua kapa ia ke kaua o ke paniwai ma muli o nā kino I pani ia I loko o ka vai ma kahi o ka ili aina o Maniania. A wahia nā kupuna ua kapa ia ke ia vai o Wailuku ma muli o ka luku ana I loko o ke ia kaua.
While not nearly as violent or bloody, a modern-day battle over this valuable resource is currently taking place.
Ke hoa'o nei ma koe ho'okahe ka vai ma ke kumu vai no ahiki I ka muli vai. I mea e ho'omomona ai I keia aina I ka lo'i kalo.
But for over a century, sugar companies have been diverting huge amounts of water from their natural source and flow in Wailuku to feed the sugarcane fields in the arid lands of central Maui.
Ua loa'a makahi o e lua kaukani a oipaha lo'i kalo. I keia manawa no ma muli o ka vai e aihue ia nei, aia makahi o e lima.
Hokuau knows that restoring stream flow is vital to returning abundance to the land. Water is key, something even kings and chiefs fought over in times past.
Ua maupopo iaia, ua momona, o keia au o ka mokopuni o ia hoi o nā vai e ha.
Long live nā vai e ha. After years of battle, Kamehameha successfully united the Hawaiian Islands, and Kamakahonu on Hawaii Island became his home. It was a time of great change and peace prevailed. Kamakahonu, however, would soon be the center for another critical turning point in Hawaii's history. After 20 years of battle and war, King Kamehameha's newly united kingdom was beaten and worn, to say the least.
It was a time of famine, and Kamehameha was looking for an area where he would be able to rule his kingdom from.
He chose this seaside residence here on the Kona coast of Hawaii Island that was called Kamakahonu.
It became the first capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii.
And his priority at the time here at Kamakahonu was to bring prosperity to his war-ravaged kingdom. He sought to do so by restoring a nearby heiau or temple named Ahu'ena.
The heiau itself was a luakini heiau, which was a human sacrifice heiau.
Kamehameha rededicated Ahu'ena to Lono, the god of fertility, and a state of abundance was restored to the land. Unfortunately, however, Kamehameha wouldn't live long enough to enjoy the fruits of his labor.
Kamehameha died again on May 8th, 1819. When Kamehameha passed, because Liholiho was so young, Ka'ahumanu, who was his favorite wife, became the first ruling wahine, chiefess, for the kingdom. Ka'ahumanu, along with Liholiho, broke the Aikapu, and that started the fall of the kapu system as we know it.
Soon after, it was here at Kamakahonu that Ka'ahumanu allowed the first missionaries to land, and she soon adopted their new religion.
Shortly thereafter, the idols and temples, as we knew them back then, were all destroyed.
This turning point, namely the abolishment of the kapu system, led to chaotic change in the kingdom, the exact opposite of what King Kamehameha sought when he first moved here. Nowadays, this historic site sits seaside of a hotel named for the king himself, the King Kamehameha Kona Beach Hotel. It is a place frequented by locals and visitors alike.
Kamakahonu, nui nona loli makeia wahine. Nui nā kamali'i, nā po'e Hawaii, nā po'e malihini ke kahi I maupopo ole. Noho mai la ka maluhia I ke alo ka lani. Pono e kupa'a ma ka aina, a pili I ka aina e ike. Ia mai la e ka maluhia e.
When we come back, we'll visit several places dedicated to Lono.
Excuse me, guys. You guys know how to get the spouting water from here?
Oh, yeah. You want to go down Mudhen Water here, all the way till you get to Quarter Line Terminalis Underground Oven. Then go right on Worn Out Soil, all the way till you get to Day of War. Then you're there.
Okay, thanks.
Without Hawaiian, it's just not the same. Aho Punana Leo, reinvigorating the Hawaiian language since 1983. Join us.
How's it?
How's it? Can I get a plate of steamed quarter line fricosa bundles, chunks of bonito, extra algae, gelatinized coconut liquid, and some pounded colocasia esculenta?
Order up. I need a lau plate with poke, haupia, and poi.
Without Hawaiian, it's just not the same. Aho Punana Leo, reinvigorating the Hawaiian language since 1983. Lono is one of the prominent deities in Hawaiian culture, and as a result, there are numerous events and places throughout the state that honor him. The annual makahiki season, which occurs during the modern-day winter months, along with its many ceremonies that pay homage to the Hawaiian deity Lono, mark a time of harvest, peace, and rest.
The makahiki was a very important celebration because we, as Native Hawaiians, we lived a subsistence lifestyle. Everything we needed, we grew. Allowed people from the mountains and the cooler lands to come down to the seashore and to celebrate this Thanksgiving, sharing of this bountiful harvest.
Because Lono represents fertility and peace, which were important to the traditional Hawaiian subsistence lifestyle, there are numerous places dedicated to Lono, from Ahu'ena on Hawaii Island to the sacred valley of Waimea on Oahu. But there is yet another sacred area dedicated to Lono, where even the place name itself honors Lono, and it's on the island that is in the piko, or the center of our island chain.
O Molokaʻi ka piko I waina o na mokupunia pau o Hawaii. O ka piko he mea nui loa, no ka mea mai ka piko mai ka ike, mai ka piko mai.
And situated on this island at the piko of the chain is a place dedicated especially to Lono, a place quite familiar to those who call Molokaʻi home.
Ua kipaku I ia hale o Lono. Ai no makaʻaoʻao ka ʻelehonua.
Many are familiar with this area, especially the beach and bay, because it's the starting point for the famous Molokaʻi to Oahu canoe races that cross the Kaiwi Channel. However, first and foremost, this was traditionally a place of worship dedicated to this prominent Hawaiian deity.
Ka hale o Lono, no ka mea oia kahi I no Hawaii o Lono.
And right in line with the overriding themes associated with makahiki and Lono, the people of Molokaʻi still see this as a peaceful place.
Ke hele aku oi I Molokaʻi. O make oi e hoʻomaha, malela no.
And to close this first episode dedicated to some of Hawaii's significant places, a story for these lands right here on Oahu Island in the district of Koʻolaupoko, the ahu pua'a of Kualoa and Hakipu'u.
Kualoa is considered the most sacred land of the entire island of Oahu.
According to the literature regarding Oahu's High Chief Kahahana, there was a time when he considered gifting all of Kualoa to Maui Chief Kahekili in appreciation for Kahekili having raised and trained Kahahana, but the other Oahu chiefs had strong objections.
We hear that the chief said, let's not give away Kualoa to anyone else. It must be the king who controls Kualoa, because whoever controls Kualoa would then control the whole island of Oahu. Now, why is it so significant? I think it's because all of the gods converge there. That Lono lineage is there rooted at Kualoa, and when you make the Lono image that you take in makahiki, you make these two cross pieces and you carry it around with the white kapa hanging down, that god is called Akualoa. So I think Akualoa was the old name of Kualoa, It has to do with the Makahiki god.
This sacred land is located on the east side of Oahu, between Koʻikoʻi Ridge on the north and this ridge to the south that rises to this peak high above.
I know ka pu'u mauka nei, ka pa'i o kane hoa lani o ia ka pu'u ki e loa o na paliku manei. O kela kua lono, mai uka ke kai o ia ka palena ma vaina o na ahupua'a e lua.
This is Hakipu'u, the ahupua'a that abuts Kualoa at this ridge and a place very dear to Liko.
Ua ulu no au ko walili ke ia aina, aloha no au ke ia wahi ke ia aina.
The Ohanaho has lived in Hakipu'u for many generations, and they are steadfast in their desire to care for this land and its traditions. Hakipu'u is famous for its association with the ancient tradition of voyaging. And so it's appropriate that Hakipu'u was the site of a historical event that took place back in 1975. So it's appropriate that this altar, dedicated to voyaging, was built along the Kanehoalani boundary of Hakipu'u as a tribute to the gathering of canoes from around the Pacific that took place in 1995, a significant event that took place yet again in 2011.
Ua manao makou ia manawa he wahi kupono he kua I ke la ahu he mea ke la e hoi ke ai ka pilina o ko kako maupoe a ka pilina o ka aina ke kai ai. Ina lawe mai lako he pohaku he mea he aina no ke la o ko lako aina no laila ua huipu ia I ke ia wahi no laila I ke ia la he mea mai kai ke ia ka hui ana o na waa mai ka moana nui mai a hui no maʻanei ma ke ia aina he kupono no.
And ahoa olelo Hawaii, aloha nui kako, and mahalo for joining us. And be sure to watch out for our next half hour where we highlight more significant places here in Hawaii. And if you have any questions or comments, please email us at manao@hawaiianlanguage.tv. A hui ho aku no aloha.